I just want to tell a couple stories that I had about Bobby Knight in my lifetime. I met him in 1974 when he came down to the Red Spring training in Tampa, Florida. And as my dad mentioned earlier, Knight at the time was following the Reds. It was easy to follow the Reds. They were the best team in baseball. 75, 76, 77, he'd come down there. As the years go by, I'm playing basketball, playing it regularly, and start going to the Indiana basketball camp every summer. My roommate every summer at the Indiana basketball camp was Tim Knight, Bobby's son, one of his two sons. He had Tim that ran eventually all the business side of his life, and Pat, who followed his dad as an assistant coach at Texas Tech, later became the head coach at Texas Tech when Bobby retired. So started to develop a really close friendship with Tim that maintained as the years went by, go through college, get out of college. I'm announcing the Cubs games in Chicago. Tim brings Pat, his brother, up to Chicago for his 21st birthday. We get out after a game at Wrigley, go hit all the joints right around there in Wrigleyville, and just had a great time. So Tim and I continued to maintain this friendship. Well, as the years go by, I'm doing the Cubs games, and every winter they would have the Big Ten Media Day for the upcoming basketball season. Now, at this point, I had not talked to Bobby Knight. I talked to Tim, but I had not talked to Bobby Knight in probably 4 years, something like that. And in 1990, the winter of 90, I'm sitting in my apartment in Chicago, Monday or Tuesday, whatever it was. Phone rings, no cell phone in those days, so it's your landline phone in your apartment. Answer the phone. Tom, Coach Knight. Thought the thing was a joke. But then you realize pretty quickly it's not a joke. And he says, hey, what are you doing about 12:30, 1 o'clock today? I said, nothing going on. It was dead of winter. Cub season wasn't happening. He says, hey, meet me and Tim for lunch at such and such a time, such and such a place. Great. Did. Sat there the whole time. He never talked about his basketball team one time, what kind of year they were going to have, all that kind of thing. This happened every year for the next 6 years, where every year I got to go have lunch with Bobby Knight and his son Tim at some joint in downtown Chicago. Okay. I make the decision to leave the Cubs at the end of the 1995 season. They wanted me to give up doing the Fox stuff. I wanted to continue to do the Fox stuff. And I figured I could probably, hopefully, find another job broadcasting Major League Baseball. So I resigned from doing the Cubs games. That's in the first week of October. The third week of November, I get a phone call from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hey, we'd like to have you come out and talk to our owner, Jerry Colangelo, about broadcasting. Not broadcasting the Diamondbacks. They just said broadcasting. I said, okay. I said, I got an NFL game in Green Bay on Sunday. I can fly through Minneapolis, be there Monday. That's exactly what happens. I land Monday, Tuesday morning, get up. I go meet with Jerry Colangelo. I walk in the door, and I had never met Jerry Colangelo. He owned the Phoenix Suns, Arizona Diamondbacks, youngest general manager in the history of the NBA, Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. Played at Illinois against Bob Knight. They've known each other for, at that point, probably 40 years. I walk in the door. Tom, nice to see you. Watch you on the Cubs games a lot. He said, I just want to tell you ahead of time that I think I'm going to like you because of Bobby Knight. I'm thinking to myself, Bobby Knight? And he says, Bob Knight called me and told me that I should hire you as the next broadcaster, the first broadcaster, for the Arizona Diamondbacks. I had no idea that had happened. Bob Knight didn't call me to say, hey, you want me to put in a good word? I know Jerry. No, nothing like that. Bobby Knight did that just out of the goodness of his heart. He knew I left the Cubs. He calls his buddy Colangelo. Hey, what are you going to do about an announcer? Colangelo's probably thinking, we're not playing for 2.5 years. He said, well, when the time comes, that's your guy. So, this will wrap it up. One of the greatest things you can have in life is to do something for somebody else that brings them just unbelievable joy, and it's even better when it happens as a surprise. So a year after Bobby Knight leaves Indiana, I'm living in Arizona. And Coach Knight and I had a common friend who was a golf pro named Jeff Sturry. And he says, Bobby's going to be in town all winter. A friend of his has a house here in Phoenix, and he's going to be around. Let's all go out and play golf one day or go to lunch one day or whatever it might be. I said, that'd be great. I said, please give him my number. Again, no cell phones now, okay? I get a phone call from Coach Knight. Fast forward. Christmas Eve day. I get two buddies of mine and said, hey, let's go out and play golf today. It's Christmas Eve day. I said, let's go out and play golf. Both of these guys were single. I think I was still single. My 30s, 32, whatever it might be, something like that. He's definitely single. I said, let's go out and play golf. We don't have any kids to worry about, Christmas, all this sort of stuff. Let's go out and play golf. So we jump in the car and out we go to this golf course. We're standing there on the driving range, and one of my buddies who grew up in Missouri, huge basketball fan, he's standing there on the driving range, and he looks at me and he says, hey, is that Bobby Knight over there? Turn around, look. Here comes this guy walking out, maybe 40 yards away. I said, man, it kind of looks like him. How about that? He says, dude, that's effing Bobby Knight. I said, yeah, looks like it is. Well, now he gets about 10 feet away, sticks his hand out. Tommy boy, what's going on? I said, Coach, meet your partner today, Mike Walsh. The look on my buddy's face when he realized that he was playing golf for the next 4 hours with Bobby Knight. When you're able, and he was able, not me, when he was able to make that happen for some guy, and then the way he treated him. I got a text this morning because all of me and this guy, Mike Walsh, and another guy that was with us that day, he reminds me today. We get out on the golf course. Bobby immediately gets my buddy Walsh like he's his long-lost friend, best friend he ever had in his life. And they're playing good. We're playing pretty good. Me and my partner, another buddy. All of a sudden, we get on like the third hole, and Bobby Knight pulls out a 9-wood. I look at him, and I'm like, are you shitting me? You're hitting a 9-wood? I said, who hits a 9-wood that's not 80? And Coach wasn't close to that yet. He pulls out that club. He sticks it about 4 feet from the pin. And his line was, as my friend reminds me, he says, the greatest line of all time on a golf course. He said, well, I bet you never even heard of an effing 9-wood, and now you'll never forget an effing 9-wood. He was unbelievable. I love the guy, and I'm not going to claim I was a great friend. I'm not. But love the guy. I love it.